In our last lecture, we were discussing about software reliability and different case studies that were relevant to the software reliability issues. Today, our topic is about work and wealth, the impact of IT on our work culture, our impact on organizations, and our living standards. So it's chapter number 10. We started. Overview of this chapter. We will start our discussion with the automation and employment. What is the impact in general of this whole IT revolution, and then what are the exact changes in our working culture of the organizations, then what is globalization, and how it actually affects the people in different countries, in different regions, then what is digital divide, and finally the winner take all society phenomena. So we will discuss it. This chapter starts with the case study or kind of real life example that someone living in India and working for some multinational company which is located in USA, and they are actually sync with the timing of the other region. I mean, someone who is working in India is synced with his or her organization in US. Their working hours are actually aligned according to the USA. So, and it is, just take this example of call centers. So many call centers are located in this region, in India and Pakistan, but they are actually dealing with the customers in USA. Why they actually hire people from Pakistan and India or some other countries? Yes, the one obvious reason is actually, the low wages. The same worker, I mean the caliber, the same caliber and the scale of the worker who is living in USA is like more costly. I mean, that is more expensive for the organizations. So they are looking for the cheaper solutions, the cheaper human resource, and that's why they actually start their business and they actually hire people from the other regions, and that is the reason. I mean, that is the impact of IT, how it is actually changing the people in different regions. So this is one side of the story. The other side of the story is like we are actually increasing the productivity. We will discuss it later in our lecture. So in another way, it's actually the globalization of the job market. Okay, and we are actually, through this globalization, we are changing the organization of the hierarchy of the companies, how they work. I mean, traditionally their style was like very formal model of the organization, and now we have some different kind of hierarchies within the organizations. We have some loose model of the hierarchies. And then we will also, discuss about the telework. What is it? I mean, rather than visiting, rather than going to the physical office, we are just sitting at our home and we are working for the company. There is also, the concern about how much monitoring of the employees is necessary for the employer. So there are different ways that when we are not actually physically present. If we are physically present in the office, yes, we have different techniques to actually monitor the employees, but when we are away from office, what are the techniques and what is the impact of those methods? And again, what I said, if there are positive sides of IT revolution, obviously it is actually improving our living standard, but at the same time there are some other discussions. I mean, what are the negative impacts, what are the disadvantages, and we will discuss this in digital divide. And yes, we will discuss like winner take all means like someone who is actually the winner, lot of prizes, lot of fame, lot of advantages for those winners. But if someone is losing, someone is not competing with the top class or the highly skilled workers, so what are the disadvantages? So we will discuss in detail. Now the discussion starts with the automation. I mean, in last few decades we observed a lot of automation particularly in IT industry. So due to this automation, we have decrease. We observe, in the workforce we observe the pattern of declining pattern of the workforce. We have less number of people, but at the same time we are actually increasing the productivity. I mean, that is at the same time it is a positive and negative impact of the automation. When we have machines rather than humans, we are increasing the productivity. Just see, in between 1979 and 2011, the population of the US increased by 39%. But at the same time, the manufacturing jobs are actually reduced is about 40%. So this is a huge difference. If the population is increasing, at the same time we expect the increase in job market, but we are actually declining. I mean, in terms of job industry, in terms of manufacturing industry. So in other words, we are actually cutting down the white collar jobs. Why? Because we have machines, we have computers that can do a lot of jobs that actually earlier, like in past days, we have clerks, we have accountants, we have office staff to do a lot of things, but now we have Microsoft Office that can do a lot of work for us. So we don't need actually the accountant, we just need the Microsoft Excel, and we can do a lot of things that are related to accountancy. So that is actually a reason that we are actually we are increasing the productivity, but we are losing the job market for some specific job titles. So there is a study that is about office hours, the week hours that we spent in the office. As I said, we are actually decreasing the workforce to do the job. So it obviously have the impact on the employees that are actually on the job, that are not losing their job, but they have the pressure to do more work. Yes, we have computers, we have machines, they do a lot of work for us, but at the same time the other, the human resource is the full of job. They spend more time in their offices, and their week hours are more than the regular normal working load. So that is not actually the assumption, it is actually the study that yes, average US workers are like spending 13 months in a year. I mean, one extra month each year in their offices. They are actually taking more stress of the job. This is just an example of General Motors, which is a well-known automobile company, and they actually reduced their employees, they actually reduced their workforce, they actually moved towards more automation, and then 30% is a huge number. They actually reduced their employees by 30% to actually exit from bankruptcy. This is another example that previously when there was no automation or less automation, we have 4 employees in our office. They were doing the same job, and due to automation, due to computer systems, now we are actually have more kind of productivity, and we need less hours to do the same job. So in other words, we are actually reducing the manpower. So now the 2 employees rather than 4 employees are working the same job. So obviously it is creating the stress on the employees, and at the same time they have to spend more hours in the office, and that is, I mean, in other words, we can say that yes, productivity is increased due to this automation. Okay, now the discussion is, we see increase in productivity and we say that okay, people are losing the jobs, but is there any other impact of this automation? Yes. I mean, when we have more productivity, when we have more automation, so it means we are actually coming up with the cost-effective products. We are actually reducing the prices, and if we are reducing the prices, it means we are actually improving, or actually helping the people to buy more products, and we are actually improving their living standards. And in other words, we are actually increasing the demand for that product. So if we are actually improving the living standards and we are actually increasing the demand of the products, it means that we are actually creating more jobs, isn't it? Yes, because if there is more demand for the products, then organizations are hiring more people, and they are actually working more to actually compete in the job market, and they actually want to meet the demand and supply concept. So it means actually automation is also a way to actually create more jobs, isn't it? Yes. There are actually different case studies that how organizations are actually moving from more expensive regions to less expensive regions, and they are moving from human resources to machines. So they are actually increasing their productivity, they are increasing their products, they are actually giving jobs to some more people in some different regions. So I mean, that is a phenomena that is automation at the same time is creating more jobs for the people, but the nature of the job is actually different. Previously we have like a lot of office workers, office staff, to do some kind of normal stuff of the office, but now we have softwares, we have machines, and but at the same time we need designers, we need some other high skilled workers who can use those softwares, those machines that are actually meant for the increased productivity. So that is the way to actually create jobs through automation. We cannot say that automation is actually to just cut down the numbers of workers, but yes, at the same time automation also support the job creation. Okay, see this figure and try to understand that okay, when we have automation, we are actually reducing the prices of products, and when we are reducing the price, it means we are actually increasing the demand of the products, and at the same time due to demand of products, we are creating the jobs, we are actually improving the living standard of the people. And then this is on the top of the surface, automation is okay, that is the reason, that is the source of elimination of different jobs. But beneath the surface, it is actually increasing the business activity, it is increasing the products and the opportunities for different people. Okay, now the discussion is what is the impact of this increased productivity? If we are increasing the productivity, then either it has some negative or positive impact on the people who are working in the offices. One thing that I said, when we say that we are increasing the productivity, but at the same time, yes, we are actually increasing the office hours of the office workers, and they are facing in some cases often they are actually facing the kind of stressful environment of the job, and they have more stress. But if we compare it with the ancient times, when the people's needs are quite limited, so they just work for what they actually need. If if someone is working for 2 days and he or she is actually meeting what is required for his living or her living, then he is actually not going to work for the rest of 5 days. But now, due to technology, due to automation, due to different products, our living standards are changed. Now we have different kind of environment, different kind of society. So to meet our actually needs and the way that how we live, we do more work. That's this. Increased productivity is actually demanding more work from the people, isn't it? Yes. If this is very interesting phenomena. If someone has like limited requirements to meet his whatever is the daily routine, so he or she will work for that specific time. If you increase the wage and you expect that he or she will be more productive, but if he doesn't need it, then the increase in wage is no motivation for those people. But if you have a lot of requirements, a lot of your needs to actually meet your living standards, then obviously if your wages are low, you will work more, because you have to meet your requirements. So that is the phenomena. You may say that this is a phenomena of materialistic life, that we are increasing our demands, we are improving our living standards, but to meet those standards or to needs, we need to work more. Okay, now there is another discussion that what is the impact of this automation. If we have intelligent machines, so how those machines are going to interact with humans, and what will be the impact of those machines and humans. So that is is really interesting. You know that there are different examples in recent past that when actually the machines were more superior than the humans in different competitions. We have evidences that machines are actually beating human players. So if we grow with the same pace that we already have, so what will be the future of those machines, and how those machines are going to actually interact in the environment, in the working environment, and what kind of that scenario will be? Just see, these are the few examples in which machines are actually more superior. Machines are superior than humans. It's in the 90s, like this IBM supercomputer actually defeated the chess champion. So that is something very amazing. We also have in recent past that Watson is actually, is competing with the human players, and that was, now Watson was the champion. That was a machine, in fact, the AI machine that is actually answering in the kind of quiz competition. This is a little bit old figure, and the autonomous vehicle, that is vehicle without driver. But now we know that Google have a driverless car, and that has already completed test drive of like more than 100,000 kilometers. And in recent times, we are actually, in news, you may hear that by 2020 in Europe there will be like driverless cars, autonomous vehicles on the roads. So that is AI. That is actually the robots kind of machines. They have the intelligence, they have the sense that how to actually drive. This is what I said. Watson wins this quiz competition. Okay, now furthermore details, more specific questions about these intelligent machines that we in journal we call robotics or robots. So the first question is it wrong to create machines capable of making human labor obsolete? I mean, what about this idea that we are just replacing humans with machines? So what will be the task of humans? I mean the labor. What will they do if everything is done by machines? So what do you say? What are your thoughts? Is it okay to replace humans with machines everywhere? Okay, number 2 is, would intelligent robot demoralize humanity? Isn't it? I mean, if we have intelligent machines, they are doing, I mean, a lot of stuff. Not only the simple, you know, kind of picking things from one place to other place. Like in previous examples, we saw that they are actually, they are competing with the human brain. So, what do you think about it? Okay, the next question is it wrong to work on an intelligent machine if it can't be guaranteed the machine will be benevolent toward humans? I mean, we are working on artificial intelligence. We want our machines to be intelligent like people, so like humans. If it happens like, yes, machine is really intelligent as like humans, then obviously like we have our own thoughts, we have our own likes and dislikes. So what will happen if machine behaves in a way like we human behaves? If machine is not going to actually accept the orders, I mean the instructions by the creators, what will happen? That's really amazing. Like being Muslim, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our creator. So the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best guidance. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the limited authority to actually practice what we like and dislike. But yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is the right way, that is the wrong way. I mean, one way is actually that is Sirat Mustaqim. And then all the others are actually just you are detracting from your straight path. But we have limited authority, and we observe, we often see that how we are actually misusing that authority. We even deny whatever is the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we are the creator of those machines, and those machines have the authority to actually decide, and if they are not obeying the orders, the instructions of the creator, the humans, so how we will actually react? That is the big question. Okay, next question is again relevant to, is quite related to this discussion, that what if a malevolent human puts intelligent machines to an evil use? The operators are still humans. Machines are intelligent, but still they are machines. So these machines are actually following the instructions. If we already discussed that if you actually create the system, you create the machine, but there is the involvement of humans in that system, in that machine, there is always the element of some malfunctioning. Why? Because we cannot control the human intentions. If we have the bad intentions, we can use those machines for evil. Like, yes, we are humans, but we actually we created a lot of weapons of mass destructions. We have the atomic bombs, and we have already seen the evidences of the mass destruction. So if we have such powerful machines, but the operators are humans and they have some bad intentions, what will happen? Okay, how would creative computers change our ideas about intellectual property? We already have this discussion that intellectual property is something that has some commercial value. So we own the intellectual property and we have the advantages, I mean certain commercial advantages, some financial advantages for that IP products. But if the machines are the real thinkers, then what will, I mean the scenario, if how we will decide about the IPs of IP rights of the machines and the humans? Okay, our next discussion is about workplace changes. This automation, the use of and the advancement in IT, how it is actually changing the workplace practices. Just see, previously we have humans to actually do some trivial tasks like calculations, like to calculate the salaries and to do some other such kind of stuff. But now we have software, and that software is more efficient than humans. So we are actually what we discussed, that we are actually improving the productivity, we are actually reducing the workforce, and due to IT we have better communication means, and now we can easily connect to each other. If we have remote offices, we have offices at different locations, but even if we have different time zones, but communication is really easy and really cheap. So what I said, now this automation is actually changing the hierarchy of organizations. Previously we have very formal hierarchy of communication and hierarchy of you can say the authority and the structure in the organization. But due to this communication, now we can easily communicate, and the communication is really very cheap. So it actually has some impact, some effect on the structure of the organization. So there is another real impact of this automation and the advancement in IT. Previously, even in Pakistan, we still have this concept of middleman. I mean, you are doing your business in a traditional way, and so most of the time you have middlemen to deal with to do the business transactions. In Pakistan, you see, we often have this discussion that the farmer is actually not getting for I mean, but according to his effort, because there is a middleman. So that middleman is actually getting the profit. He actually takes whatever is the product from the first party, that is in this case the farmer, and then with very reasonable profit it actually delivers to the market, that middleman, and so it actually increases the price of the product. But at the same time, the real owner of the product, he is not actually getting the reasonable profit of that product. But if we have the fast communication, so that, like now we have a lot of websites that are offering online business opportunities. So that is the way to directly deal and interact with the end consumers, and you can actually eliminate the middleman. So it is also changing the culture, the work environment of the organizations. This is the figure that actually represents the hierarchy of organization. And previously in this part of, part A of this figure, That is a formal kind of organization, formal structure within the organization. But I mean, in this case, like you have your superior, your head. You need to communicate with your head, and that head is actually going to communicate with the middle level management, and middle level management is going to communicate with the top management. That is the chain of power. That is the way of communication. But because now you can easily communicate, I mean, rather than having that surface mail, you have the electronic mail. You can just communicate with everyone within the organization through just single email, just making a CC and BCC to all the, I mean, the concern. So it is easy to communicate in this way. So the part B of this figure, that I mean reflects this this change, that you can in fact communicate with everyone. With, I mean, previously it was not actually the economical way, or it was not actually the affordable to communicate at the, I mean, with everyone at the same time. But now it is really easy to actually do it. Okay, here we have just few titles of the jobs that previously we have a lot of clerical staff in the offices, but and we have a lot of middlemen. But now we have more skilled workers. We have computer engineers, we have system analysts, we have software developers, we have statisticians, we have big data scientists. So that is like more, you know, skilled workers. The need of the more skilled worker is actually high. So the jobs that are due to this automation are created, that jobs demand the high skill of high skilled workers. Okay, what is telework? What I said in the beginning of the lecture, that if you don't really go to your office, you are away from your office, and you are in fact, I mean, it is quite possible that you are at home and you are working for your office. That is called telework. You are in your car, you are on the road, and you are actually working for your office. That is telework. So you are actually ignoring, or you are actually I mean, the traditional way of work. In traditional way of work, yes, you need to physically present in your office all the time. If you are not at your office, it means you are absent. But now it is not the case. You can I mean, you can just inform your office that you will be working from home, and then there are different tools that support that. Okay, yes, you are really on your work, you are doing your task, and it is not actually that you are just sleeping at home and you are saying that I am at work. So these are the different examples of telework. I mean, home office, and you are just telecenter. There in some countries you have some specific offices that are called telecenters. They have the communication facilities. At that place, you rather than going to your office, you just go to telecenter, and from telecenter you actually communicate, and you work for your office. And there are, I mean, companies, their sale offices have no physical office. They are on the roads. They do their field work, and they just communicate with their offices. So that is also a common example of telework. And it is getting popular. 20%, more than 20% of US workers are actually the teleworkers. Okay, now what are the advantages of telework? First of all, the increased productivity. How we are going to increase the productivity? That is the question. Yes, if you are not actually like spending your time to travel from and to office, obviously you are saving time. And if you are saving that time and you are available for the whole time, so it means you are actually increasing the productivity. There are no social gatherings that are informal social gatherings that obviously consume your time at office. So you are actually no such gatherings, no informal chit chat, and there is no traffic blockage, and you can avail the full office hours to do the work. So if you are doing like 8 hours, full 8 hours of work, obviously you are actually improving the productivity. You are increasing the productivity. Okay, another advantage of telework is actually to reduce the absenteeism. Sometimes you are not actually, you are not feeling well, you have some other task to do at home, and perhaps that task is just for like a few hours, like 2 hours or 3 hours, but you cannot actually afford to go to office and then come back and go again. So in that case, you actually just take leave from your office. But if you have this opportunity to work from your home, then it is easy to actually manage your task at home, your stuff at home, and at the same time you are working for the office. So obviously this phenomena of telework actually reduces the absenteeism. Another advantage of telework is to actually improve the morale of the employees. How you are actually improving the morale? What are your thoughts? What do you think about it? Yes, because for office work you have you need to prepare, you need to get ready, and you have the formal attire, and that is the way to actually attend the office. But if you have you don't need to go to office and you are at home, so you are in your casual dress, and you can feel easy at home in whatever casual dressing you are. So you have no such kind of what we call it, compulsion to have the specific dress. So that's obviously have some positive impact on your mood. You feel good. Okay, another advantage is you actually, because you don't need to commute for the office, you have full time to work, so it means you are more productive, you are more efficient. So in this way you are actually also available for the offices that are at some other location. Like you are good worker, you are more productive, you have skill that is required by some company, by some organization, but that organization is far away. If I am here and I have some specialty, I have some expertise, but I cannot move from Islamabad. So there is another company in Karachi, and that company needs my services. Through telework, it is quite possible that they can actually get my service. I don't need to actually physically go to Karachi, and I can work for that company living in Islamabad. So that is the way that companies are hiring, companies are actually taking the advantage of my expertise or someone's expertise through this telework. Yes, obviously it saves the lot of resources of the organization, because if I don't need to go to office, then office obviously the organization doesn't need the physical space for my office, and obviously it is something that is very important for in terms of finances. It is really good for the organization. They don't need to actually put a lot of resources for their employees. They are saving like their space, their some other resources, because people or employees are working from home, or they are working from some other remote places. So that has that is actually the kind of budget cuts for the organizations. And in other way, they are actually reducing their product price, because they are actually, they have the cost-effective solution when they are actually offering people the option of the telework. Okay, improves the company resilience. This way you can, it is also very important for the company that they they deal with the with the employees. If employees are away there, this is like when you are physically present somewhere, then there is the chances of the chances of dispute are actually the greater. But if you are away and you are actually doing your work at home, you are focused on the work, you are actually reducing the overhead of the resources on the organization part, so organization is actually more comfortable with you. How it helps the environment? What do you think? Telework is actually what I said. If I don't need to commute, I am actually kind of environment friendly person. I am not actually consuming the fuel, low fuel consumption, because I don't need to actually commute for my office. So this is actually helping the environment. This is actually the kind of environment protection. Okay. That again saves employees money, is actually related to this what I said. If I don't need to commute, obviously I am saving my money that I spend on the fuels, or I spend on the maintenance of my car. So obviously that saves that saves money on my side and on the organization side. So that's all for today. In our next lecture, we will discuss the disadvantages of telework and the rest of the chapter.